Monica, so I did her, and we like this was a time where we got to really hang out, just two of us in this dressing room while I was painting, and it took probably 2 hours, and we had a blast. We had a total blast. I knew then um, that we would be working a lot. She was gonna be one of the models that I paint many times.
Yeah, and which kind of ties in with the conversation that we had earlier, like right before this show, how you were kind of saying that you that like ev- whenever you find a model, those are usually the models you go to, and you build your relationships with that model, and like and then in a sense you are painting their being, their personality onto their bodies, which is like quite a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's a celebration of who they are, and a lot of people that see my work um, on like the surface, they ignorantly see sex first, and or maybe they'll just see sexy woman, or I paint men too, but for me it's a lot more than that. These are my friends, and so when someone like says to me, like, just imagine like your best friend in the world and someone like just says really gross stuff about them, like it's like locker room humor, that and it doesn't, like, it's not cool,
Hmm.
these are my friends. These are like really important people in my life, and I'm not, unless the concept is erotic, and I try to handle those in very classy ways, but the intent is not sexual, for a majority of the time. It's about, I try to always tell a story about the person that I'm painting. Sometimes it's only a decorative body painting, but for the most part, the body paintings that I like most are the ones that communicate who this person is, something about them, something that makes them feel special and glow, so that I can capture that on the camera, you know?
Hmm. Yep. And it kind of leads back to our first Beyond the NFT episode. I believe you were on my second Beyond the NFT episode ever. How
Yeah.
you kind of mentioned that like within the field, there's a certain level of professionalism that you need to like uphold, because like you mentioned, it's not like a lot of people like to just off the top, like just sexualize stuff, when in reality, it's beyond that. It's art. It's the freedom of being able to express yourself.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely body painters out there that have sexual motivations, and but for me, especially after doing this 18 years, like thousands of people, and just my personality, I'm an introvert, I'm very soft spoken. For me, I really enjoy the experience, this one-on-one experience, just the two of us
Mm-hmm.
becoming friends, like that's a lot of times these are people that may never talk to me in the real world, like we have this very unique situation where I get to make friends with sometimes just like stunningly gorgeous human beings, and you learn a lot about the human condition when that happens, like a lot of things that you assume about people are not necessarily true.
Oh, yep, yep. I mean, it comes to the you can't read a book by its cover. Like
Definitely.
there are more layers to the human being, and so then you got hit up by this studio, and immediately you knew that Julia was the one that was
Yeah.
going to
Yeah,
be.
she's the one I wanted to paint. I had this water painting style of mine. That was probably the second time I did it, and I've done it now probably over a dozen times, because it was received way better than I ever expected. Because that type of painting for me is extremely easy. It's kind of therapeutic for me, at least, and I really wanted to paint it on her, and so I took advantage of this opportunity to do that. And then my other intention, with the results of this, were to ideally someday bring it into a gallery location, so patrons of the gallery could experience her. Um, even though, and she would be there with him, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately she's not. But I also knew talking to this company that I asked them, can I use this for a gallery show in the future, especially since you're not paying me or her, you know? And I paid her out of my pocket for this because I knew it was like, it's a lot of work, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they said, yeah, you can use it if it comes out perfect. And as soon as I heard if it comes out perfect, I knew I was not
Oh.
getting anything. I knew like I just know how this business works, you know, and it's like, okay, so I'm not getting anything. So I made sure on location to take the time to do my own photo shoot. And that's what you see in the video with her in the alley by the puddles of water after it rained. And
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of beautiful photos, and two of the photos are included in her collection on the walls, the NFT collection. And you know, I think maybe like 4 months later, I had a gallery show coming up, and I reached out to the company and said, hey, I have a show, I'd love to use the VR thing if possible. And they're like, yeah, it didn't come out as great as I'd hoped, so we can't really put it out there. And I knew that was going to happen, you know, so I wasn't surprised, but I tried. And that was the end of that. And I maybe tried contacting them one or two times after that, and didn't receive a response. And so I chalk that up to like first body painting in volumetric capture, and I did a great photo shoot as a result. Got a lot of good YouTube views and things, and that was that.
But I'm sure that in the time that where you two were kind of, doing this, working together to doing this, you kind of, build that bond and it became even stronger throughout time, as
Oh
time
man,
went
it
by.
was it was fun to shoot the capture because we had already established this relationship the two times that I painted her, you know? So
Mhm.
like the director of the studio was trying to get her to do certain things and trying to get her to laugh, you know, and he couldn't do it. Like it just seemed unnatural, you know, and so I was just like, let me handle this.
Get it. Shoo, shoo.
And so I walked in front of her as she was being recorded and pretended to moon her, and then she just lost it, you know, and we captured that. And you know, it just tells you like the comfort level that she and I had, and I have with a lot of my models, that you know we spend so many hours together. And you guys know, those of you that know me in Decentraland know how playful I am, you know, and
Mhm.
it's like that, like that's how I am in real life. And that was a great memory. And um I don't know, the whole experience was cool, and I drove her home afterwards, and we had just like phenomenal conversation on the way home, and it was a wonderful experience for both of us. And but you know, I didn't think we would ever see the results.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And and so well, okay, so you said you never really thought you'd see the results. So like in all, would you say that that's still even lost? Like you wouldn't be able to get that, or
Well, I mean, we got it. It's now in the metaverse, right? You
uh
guys can experience it. So
oh,
what you see is what I got. So I could tell you I could tell you the story of how that came about now, you know. I painted her one more time after that. We had hoped to paint maybe two or three times after the third time I painted her, and we just couldn't get our schedules aligned. And then she passed away, and she passed away from a fentanyl overdose. She had taken a drug to relax that happened to be laced with fentanyl that she did not know, and it took her life, which is becoming a huge problem in the United States.
yes.
And I found out late that she died. I found out almost like 9 months after she died that she passed away. And I found out 2 weeks or a week or two after I got into this really bad motorcycle accident, and I broke three ribs, broke my collarbone, had a really serious concussion, and the collarbone that I broke was my drawing hand, so I couldn't really draw. So, but like when I found out she passed away, I had to do something, you know, like it's kind of part of the grieving process, I guess, right? Where you got to create something to handle it.
Yes.
And so I painted a portrait of her on this model Sawyer, who I've painted probably like 50 times now. She's one of my main favorite models, and so I had to paint that portrait with my left hand, which I don't usually do. And so it came out really cool. It was fine, and I put that on YouTube. And 4 months after that, I got a DM from her mother who had stumbled on the video, and we just started talking. And like we had just the most beautiful conversation. You know, you never know what to think about. Like, I've done paintings in front of models' parents. I've painted models in their parents' house while dad was home. You know, like I've done everything you can possibly imagine, but you never know what to think about what a parent really thinks about you painting on their child. I've got the craziest stories. But she loved it. Her dad loved it, and I didn't tell him about the volumetric capture because I didn't think I could get it. So like, why burden anyone with the knowledge that that exists? That like incredibly unique thing exists. Uh, and about a week or two after I had spoken to her, I couldn't shake it from my head, knowing that this existed, and like I'm like the only one that could try to do something about it. So that was the beginning of this long process, this long, careful, strategic process of communicating with this company to get permission to use this footage. And it took like 2 years, you know, and during this whole time I began learning about NFTs and Decentraland, and little by little, like it's all been as if it was meant to happen, you know, like the
Yes.
path that was taken. Like if they had given me the footage in that moment, it would just end up in a gallery, maybe, you know. I would have never discovered Web3 and had it ready for that, you know. Maybe it would come later after the fact, but the way that it laid out was just meant to be. It's crazy.
Yep. I mean, I even just listening about your motorcycle accident that you were hurt. You got hurt in your drawing hand. It almost feels like Julia was there to help you recover.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, like 2 days after I did the memorial painting, I had surgery on my collarbone. So it was just like I did that whole thing in a pretty rough state, and you know, it just gets crazier and crazier. And so I finally connected the company with Julia's parents and got permission to see the footage, not use it, but just see it, you know. And so they sent me the footage, able to use it on AR on my iPad, and then the parents they got the footage, but they never looked at it because they could never build up the strength to look at their child, you know, which is really sad.
Yeah.
But still, they we kept this dialogue going, and she revealed to me that they had been talking to psychic mediums with the hopes of communicating with their daughter, you know. And I tend to be very skeptical at first. I believe in energy and energy remaining after death, but I don't necessarily believe in psychic businesses.
Hmm.
And so she was telling me these stories that this medium was telling her, and body painting came up randomly, and I was just like, oh, okay, I mean, you could just Google my name and her name, and you'll find our body painting. So that's not a huge surprise. And in this meeting, they were like, Julia's very excited that this someone sold her artwork. Did she sell some artwork? Did she have artwork that she sold? And they're like, no, I don't think so. Or maybe someone sold artwork that she was in. And I'm hearing this, like they sent me a recording of the psychic meeting, and I'm hearing this, and like I just sold a print that I of that the one the reflection in the puddle. I sold that at a gallery show as a, you know, and it was titled like I'll never forget you or something like that. But I remembered I sold it, and I knew the exact date that it sold. It sold the day before the show even opened, and I can't remember the date off my top of my head. It might have been like October 22nd, 2020 or something like that, or 2021, I think maybe.
Hmm.
And I looked it up. I looked it up in that moment, figured out the exact date, and then I texted the mom. I was like, just out of curiosity, I was like, okay, let me if it sold if this recording was taken before that date, then that, that doesn't never happen. But if it was taken after that date, then that's kind of interesting. And so I immediately texted her mom, when was this recording? I didn't tell her that I sold artwork or anything. And within 10 seconds, I got a reply, October 21st, 2021, or 20, whatever the date was, the exact date. And I was
Mm,
like, what?
uh,
The hair on my neck exploded, and I couldn't talk. Like, it was the craziest thing ever. And that was the first, like, psychotically coincidental instance of a happening like that, and that was the first of many. And so my whole point is like, she's for sure watching and helping somehow, somewhere, encouraging. And our original goal, Claudine, her mother, and I, was to set up a live gallery show in California with her artwork framed and printed, and you know just like what I'm used to doing. And I didn't really want to do that, and she didn't really want to do that either, because of the workload and the cost associated with doing that. But we were prepared to do that,
mhm.
and because we just had, like, we had to for Julia, and it really does kind of feel like somewhere Julia is kicking us in the butt, pushing us to do these things, and over the course of 2 years, things started to evolve, and I started to see this better path of, like, screw prints and framing, and, like, if I did a gallery show, like, what, 100 people might show up from California. Like, the
Mhm.
metaverse is where it's at. Like, cut those material costs completely, build a gallery in the metaverse, present the virtual representation so people could really, really explore meeting her. Whereas in the gallery, I was going to have, like, iPads hanging from the ceiling or something.
Mhm. Yeah,
And it just started to really make sense.
it
Started to make sense.
I
Right.
mean, just all of it, just getting put together. Like you mentioned, even like at the time of your motorcycle accident and before that, you knew nothing about metaverse. You
Yeah.
didn't, that world was not the world you were looking towards or even thinking about at that point.
Right.
And just through time, just coming into the space, you got involved, you got into building, you got into creating your own, like, your own assets, your own builds, your own plots. You gained the skills to be able to, build what we are now standing on
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
moment. And you could have just taken any traditional route that a lot of artists that come into the space do, come in, show their artwork, and then just, like, just focused on their art and their creations. But instead you
Right.
took it like the next step further and tried to bring your real life art into the digital world, thus giving you the skills to do this.
And I could tell you too, Sin, like, the day I met you, I was aware that I wanted to do this, but it wasn't possible yet, you know? It
Hmm.
was like a pipe dream almost. It's like, oh, it would be so cool. Like, it's just meant to be in the metaverse. Like, this is how it's supposed to be done, but I can't get the permission to use it. One of the weird crazy things was, I didn't know when we had first recorded with this company that they were already heavily involved in the metaverse for, like, years,
Whoa.
since, like, 2017 or 15 or something like that. They were dealing with Play Canvas back then, and building these amazing scenes with, like, A-list musicians and things like that.
Yeah, which kind of leads me to, like, kind of, I guess, the next topic we can talk about, which is, like, Play Canvas. Could you tell us a little bit about Play Canvas? Before, I believe, what was it? Maybe a few days ago when you showed me this scene, it was like the first time that I had ever jumped into it.
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the Wisher vodka portal I believe that was built in Play Canvas. It had a different URL, but in Play Canvas you can export your builds and put it on any domain basically, which is kind of cool.
Would it be like Swivel Meta? Because I believe that's what
I think
Wisher.
that's what they used, right? So Swivel Metal maybe uses Play Canvas to build their builds. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. That's just a theory.
Mm-hmm.
But basically when the dialogue was happening with this company with Digital Nation, um, I knew in my mind this belongs in the metaverse, and I contacted them after we got certain permissions and was like, "Have you ever heard of the metaverse? Have you ever heard of Decentraland?" Thinking I was talking to a normie, and they totally understood. They've been doing it since before me. And like, "Oh yeah, like we've won awards in metaverse creation and stuff." And I was like, "Oh cool, so I don't have to explain this to you then. Great." And so I had to do like one final meeting with them with my intentions of bringing it into Decentraland, and like, yeah, I was like, can you just send me an animated GLB and I'll do all the work, I'll do everything. And they're like, it doesn't work that easily. Like, it's not just an animated GLB, it's like it's this crazy plugin thing that just unfortunately does not currently work in Decentraland, which is why I had to use Play Canvas, which was their recommended platform. And so I was really bummed. That really like pulled the rug from my feet. I was really bummed that I couldn't do it like that. And but I got over that and started learning how to use Play Canvas, which was not fun. Like, it's like I already learned how to do Decentraland. Now I got to learn this whole other metaverse platform that doesn't operate exactly the same as Decentraland. It was really like it was super complicated, and I'm really getting too old for this stuff. But I did it. Figured it out, and it's a cool platform. It has its pros and cons. It definitely has like beautiful effects and things. The way that it looks. Um, so
To-
yeah,
Totally. And here, how about I jump in so we can meet Julia, so we can
yeah.
visit
I mean,
Julia.
just remember that there's nipples.
I
There's those dangerous,
There's
dangerous
this thing. I mean,
baby feeders.
I saw Billy T Coin get away with almost murder.
Maybe
Uh,
just don't go too close to her. I
maybe
don't know.
not too close.
It's
Okay.
definitely something that I hope that everybody listening can experience on their own.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you really get the full effect.
And yes, it's highly encouraged to experience it alone. Just take a moment, everyone, and I will drop you a link once we jump in there.
But then I'll like fast forward. I had to test everything out heavily, um, because I wanted the first experience with her parents to be perfect. So I looked at this from every possible angle. Had my children, had my wife go through it. I studied the way that they explored it to make sure that things weren't missing or things weren't confusing, and got to the point where I was ready to show her parents just last weekend.
Just last
And
weekend, and how was their? What can you like give us a little insight on their reaction?
yeah, so they still had never seen the volumetric capture, but luckily we've developed, Claudine and I had developed such comfort from our conversations, that she was ready to let go a little bit and just experience this incredibly unique thing. And I actually spoke to her dad for the first time ever on the phone as I was presenting this to them, and you could tell, there's excitement, there's nerves on both parts, both of us, all three of us, and I took them through everything. First thing I did was like, all right, we're gonna set up your Decentraland account, and we're gonna go to Genesis City, and I'm gonna get the settings right, because otherwise you're gonna lag the fuck out, and it's gonna just fail. So I took them to Genesis City. I I turned down the scene radius, I turned off ambient occlusion, I put it on low and set the match display so it was decent quality, and then we jumped into the world, Julia's gift world, and then I wanted them to see the video. I was like encouraging them the correct direction without telling them, and then at the same time they had to learn to walk, so I was kind of coaching. I was holding their hands, experiencing this. I did not want them to have a bad experience,
Yeah.
and but of course the video didn't load for their laptop, so I had to give them the YouTube link to see the video. I was just like, okay, well, before we explore the world, I want you to see the video. Let's go to YouTube. And then YouTube, they couldn't sign in because of the nudity. It was 18 plus. So luckily I had Vimeo prepared. So I sent them the Vimeo link and they got to finally watch the video. And I didn't say a word as they were watching. And I could hear my narration on the phone as they were watching. And I can hear a little sniffling and blowing, nose blowing. And then it ends, and they were beyond grateful. They were really blown away. They couldn't really like it was everything I hope for. Like I felt like I succeeded on that part of it, and they still hadn't seen yet the volumetric capture. And so then I just started taking them around the build, and and they got to see the birds and the way the birds fly away and the grass, and they were really interested in the decisions I made, including the pavilion made of marble. And she's like, "What made you make that?" And I was just like, it just felt right, like I was supposed to. I wanted it to feel rich, and I wanted there to be nature around. And she's like, "It's just crazy that you do that, because in her home in Connecticut, like that's what her bedroom looks like." And it was just another one of those coincidental things. And there was like 5 other things before that moment, but then I was like, all right, now like this is her artwork on the walls. Now I want you to click the statue in the middle, and then they click it, and then they go in there, and it's just like dead silence, and gasping, a little bit of gasping, and it was beautiful, really beautiful. Yeah. And they're beyond excited about it. These psychic readings just get crazier and crazier. And they're about to send me another one, which the medium knew nothing about what I was doing, and basically expressed Julia's excitement with what was about to be released in like pretty phenomenal description of what was being created. And it's just ultimately said that Julia is beyond elated at the result of this. And this is actually just the beginning of her plans, because like I said before, it's her pushing us to do this. And I'm sorry if people don't believe these things, but like this is just it's inexplainable, the coincidences and stories that are coming out of this. But she has a bigger plan to spread awareness about the fentanyl epidemic, and she has goals to take the proceeds from this to help support young artists and spread that awareness. And and that's one of the goals with this build, is like the NFT artwork that's available. 100% of the sales go to her family to do that job. And this is again another job that like her parents don't want to do all the work, but they're going to, because they really believe that this is Julia's work, Julia's gift that she's giving to everybody. And so yeah, for like my 2 collaboration pieces in there's the traditional photo of Julia in the alleyway, and then there's the reflection in the puddle. I mean, all these pieces are about $16 each. And I'm like, again, like the randomness of timing of everything, like with the market as currently bad as it is, like someone collecting this for $16, when the bull market hits again, that's going to be over $100. Like, and they're going to hold the money until it booms before they withdraw it to put it towards, these efforts. And But yeah, this is an opportunity. Like, I think her artwork is really cool, and anybody who wants to collect one of my pieces that I collaborated with her, this is a good way to get it for pretty cheap, $16. You know, and then you can ideally put it in your builds in the future and show it off. But yeah, I
You
mean,
know, I'm a Roustan artwork collector.
yeah. I was only gonna include one, but that reflection piece, I've always loved that piece of her reflection in the street, and it feels so freaking relevant. It's insane. Like she's just watching me through the reflection, you know.
The name.
I yeah, so I had to put it in there, and you know, I was working out the prices with her parents. So I was like, I don't think you should do like a small one of one at a very high price. I think you should make it as big as possible, even if it doesn't sell out. We gotta get it in as many hands as possible, and I was like maybe like 100 or 111 or something. And she's like, why did you say that? And she's like, I don't know. It's a common popular number in Web3,
Mm-hmm.
1111, right? The
Yep.
11, good luck and everything. And she's like, Julia used to mention that all the time before she passed away. And I was like, of course, another coincidence, of course, you know. So it's just like that's the purpose of all that.
This piece right here has to be one of my favorites.
That's cool.
This
Yeah.
is one of hers. One of
Yeah,
her.
yeah. So she did all the drawing and painting on all the other ones. And some of them I know a little bit of info on. I don't know much about that one. But Julia's mom says that she imagines it as that's Julia in the hands of the universe.
Which makes, I mean, it makes total sense. Yeah. And this one right here might be another one I'm looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's cool. It's called Toy Shop, which I thought was an interesting title. I asked her mom to help me with titling these, and so we basically scraped her Instagram and Facebook and looked at descriptions. And I highly recommend people check out her Instagram. It's PUNTHEJULES, pun the jewels. There's it's kind of haunting the way she writes about things. She was a really good writer too, and
What
her
was
dad
the.
actually asked that PUN
Okay.
THE
THE.
JULES.
JULES.
But they have plans to like, you know, this is not the end of this. Like this is gonna be this is just the beginning of a grander mission on her family's part, and they want to include her poetry and you know, like it's like you click on some of those pictures and some of the things that she writes are just really poignant, and she's really intelligent, really intelligent, really funny, and really beautiful, like I said in the video.
Catchers. I mean, these are beautiful pictures of her.
Yeah, I mean she's got phenomenal taste. um I don't know,
Perfect
it's
state.
just really cool.
This, for a second, she
Mrs.
looked body
Girl.
painted.
I had to go through her Instagram and take photos for the video, choose photos,
Hmm.
and it's like I almost forgot for a second that she was gone, and I was like, oh, I want to work with her again, and it's like, oh, I can't.
Which, I mean, which brings us back to kind of all this is being done for the awareness of, you know, fentanyl.
Right.
Um, are there, like, from what you've done so far, is there any way to kind of like that, in your opinion, that what part could everyone do to kind of spread the awareness? It could be
I
like within
mean,
their own local community, or you know,
yeah.
even with their following, but
Let me
to,
put up this one link. I'll post it in the Twitch chat if I can still find it.
Yep.
I want to say it was fentylawareness.org. Could be wrong. I saved it somewhere. Yeah. No, that's not it. That's not it. I mean, I don't know what people can do locally. There's definitely maybe that was Gov. Let me just double check. Awareness.gov. Nope, that's not it. Let me see if I saved it. I think, I mean, the thing that I recommend from my standpoint is to like collect some of our NFTs, show it off, talk about what it's about. You know, here I found the link. Score. But I started researching heavily a little bit about fentanyl and stumbled on this government website that's their mission, to spread a lot of info about it. And of course, I think the internet or my phone or whatever was listening, and then I got hit with some trending articles, one of which was apparently nowadays in New York City, people that go out to party with regular drugs that they like to party with now tend to test the drugs that they're going to consume to make sure it doesn't have fentanyl in it. It's becoming kind of a standard thing now to test your drugs before you consume your drugs, you know? And it's just such a crazy world we're living in. And you're starting to hear more and more about it, but this is a really, really serious thing that's happening. Lots and lots of people dying that shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, I have my personal story with, related to a fentanyl-related death, and I can personally say that it's not easy. It feels like, a person just gets ripped out of your life.
Yeah,
for no reason.
Just like stolen, just completely stolen.
Yep.
Which of course was the case with Julia for me. Like I definitely saw us doing so much together, and we still are, after her life. But I don't know. It's definitely a problem that shouldn't be the way that it is.
Yep, and we could do our part with spreading awareness, and as well as even at this moment, just celebrate Julia. And
yeah, amen. Like that's how I feel about death. Is it's a celebration of their life, and in her short life, she created beautiful things, and is now forever locked in the metaverse for people to meet and tell this story, how she died. It's amazing. And that was something that Kanessa and I and others were talking about earlier, is in regards to using the metaverse in this way. Like, can you imagine, like, if you're a parent with 2 young children and you just were diagnosed with terminal cancer or something, you can create this before your death for your family, for your friends and loved ones to remember you, in a virtual way, which was science fiction for us 5-10 years ago, right? But now it's really quickly becoming a reality, and it's pretty wild.
Oh my God, you're right. This is wild. So that water pattern that you spoke about earlier, the one in the one that you did for this NFT right here.
Yeah. It's on the baby doll walls right now.
Yep, exact. Like, have you, like, ever since that moment, or you have found out about Julia, has drawing that pattern become kind of like a special thing to you, like something with more meaning?
It was always special, but now it's even more special. I did it again recently for a 3D scan on another model, and I used the same colors and everything. And there was a part of me that was like, should I be using this same color? But it's my favorite color of the bunch. Now I'm starting to use an aqua green sort of color, which is cool too. It was really cool too. But I can't just, like, I don't think she would be happy with me, like, leaving it with her, like I think she would want me to continue painting my. It's become kind of like one of my trademark styles, and I don't think she would want that to end with her, you know. So, but it did, yeah, cross my mind a little bit. Like, should I be painting this, you know?
Totally. I mean, it's just a. It could even be looked at as a whole nother way of celebrating her
Oh
every
yeah,
time.
totally, totally. And what's cool about it is like it's impossible for me to paint it exactly the same way twice. Like I follow people's curves on their body and I try to complement it, you know, and so everyone is different. So like
Hmm.
the way that I apply it on someone is always going to be different and unique. It's organic, you know, so it's special. She loved it. I like it was cool when I painted it on her. She just loved it. You could tell just by looking at her and the way she filmed herself on her selfies and things like that. It was just like wow.
She was happy. That brings me a smile. Uh, well, thank you, Rustan, for coming on Beyond the NFT and speaking to us about Julia today. I do understand that like it it's something difficult to talk about, but it's something that needs to be talked about, and
Yeah.
to now I know like a little. I feel like I know a little more about you. I'm a little closer to you just knowing that like this entire time that I've known you, you've just have been working up to this project.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. And I'm really glad that it's done. I mean, it's been on my mind for so long,
uh,
and
it's
this. I
only.
mean, the whole thing is just unreal. It's unreal. You know, like even when I did the memorial painting, usually I put a video up, and then like if you've seen my YouTube channel, the comments are always off because of all the gross comments that people do. And when I did the memorial video, it was really nice to see human beings respecting a human being who is no longer with us, and they like what felt like for the first time in my career, um, it was full of respectful responses, you know. And because I don't remember, I think I made that before I decided to turn comments off. um, that felt special, and it sucks that it takes someone's death to look at this artwork in the way that it was intended, you know. um, but it feels really good, that Julia is part of that, and like I'm able to celebrate her life, and like none of you guys would have ever met her if this wasn't created, and you've like got to meet her about as close as you can, you know, virtually, which is pretty wild, you know, and it's just such an amazing thing.
It definitely has been. Uh, so, Rustan, let's see, we've been going for about almost an hour now. I feel
Mm.
like perhaps maybe we can even move on, like kind of pivot over to a little bit of
Sure.
DCL talk,
Sure thing.
because
Before like let's segue with that by make sure you guys collect the neat in the build in Julia's gift DCL world.
yeah,
It's the first neat. It's the first neat in the DCL world,
we're
and I want as many people to collect it. If you don't see it, I know sometimes people don't see it. So if you don't see it, just DM me on Twitter, Roustan NFT on Twitter, Roustan NFT, and send me your wallet address, and I'll get it to you. And I want to make sure as many people collect that as possible, so I could share with the parents how many people saw this tonight. You know.
totally. And that you actually read my mind because that was like the first DCL related topic I was gonna bring up. The first neat on a DCL Worlds deployed. Was there anything different that you had to do from like deploying a neat to the regular world or regular
Um,
decentralized?
well, I've always been in communication with Lastrom since the beginning of Neats, and like I was the first. I believe I was one of the first Neats in the DCL Genesis cities. But I don't know. We worked together to make sure everything works properly, and actually during the tour, like it wasn't working because the Matic gas prices were so high. I couldn't get it to load, and so he upped it for me remotely, and then it popped up, and so
I mean,
it's good to have that connection, you know.
Yeah, you have been using Neats for a very, very long time. I do remember yeah, you were actually one of the first. Now it was a Casa Rustan party. Was it a shark party? No, there was shark paint on it. Or like it was like your glowy paint
Yeah, I don't
wearable.
remember which one the first one was, but yeah, I had lost it over the Pope people. I just had enough of it. They like I had one party that I needed. Like I always had over 1,000, people collecting my popes, and they tried to give me 100 for one party, and I was just like, you know what, guys, I'm done with you.
No more. And
You
and
guys are crazy.
I do believe the Neat is also like right here. I already collected mine, so it probably
Yeah,
like went
yeah, it's right
away.
there. Yep, that's exactly where it is.
So
And
just it was just a smooth process to be able to download or to deploy the Neat to the world.
yeah, everything seems to work really smoothly. There are weird hiccups, like the video not loading for some people for some reason. There are the limitations of only 100 max into the world, and then like there's no other realm. But for the most part, things have been pretty good. And I what's cool, I don't think a lot of people know. I've been exploring a lot of worlds. This is like the fifth world that I've built, but you can place your build anywhere on the map. So like this build, I wanted sidewalk to go all the way around it, so I looked on a map that had, I can't remember if it's six by six or 3 by 3 or what it is, but I looked for, it might be a 4 by 4, and I looked for a square on the map that has a sidewalk all the way around, and I found that, and I put those as the scene JSON coordinates in the SDK, and it planted it right there, which is cool. So you can create a build anywhere on the map. I think that's really awesome.
Yes, excellent location. I just pulled up the map and saw it was a 4 by 4.
Cool.
And let's see. Oddjob is saying we have yet to test the max
Yeah.
user count. Maybe one day we'll.
I mean, I guess that's the big limitation for corporations. They're going to want more than that if they have a big, or they don't want people to get turned away if it's full.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember during the bull market, like the biggest number of people I had at Casa Rustan in one moment was like 290 people. It was spread across like 4 realms, I think.
Four
Four or five
realms,
realms. Yeah.
freaking 19
Three
islands.
realms. 3 realms, yeah. And man, the lag, holy cow.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, but those were the days. I wonder like with kind of all the optimization that they've done to this point and also the new additions, I wonder what the Central Land would kind of run like if we got that huge influx again where we
Yeah.
have
Oh
almost
man.
300 users in one parcel.
Yeah. It's intense. I hope we can get that solved for sure because it was not fun back then. It was a nice problem to have, but man, it was brutal.
It was brutal and kind of like I've just randomly streaming, just having conversations with just friends, community members that jump in. One of them mentioned to me one day that if Decentraland kind of had the development that it has now, back when the bull run hit, they perhaps maybe we would even have a chance to retain more a higher user
Oh,
count
definitely.
in the bear.
Definitely. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but
I'm
we
having fun. Like I want to see more people using their world. Get on it. Stop waiting.
You want to see
Stop
more people
saying,
using their world? What do you want to
yeah.
see on these worlds,
I
Rustan?
want to see anything that people can come up with in their imagination. Like
Mm.
anything is possible. There's no limitations. I mean, other than the DCL limitations, right? But like limitations are what allow artists to really excel. Like it's hard to work with like no limitations. But when you can't do, like, look what happened with Julia in Play Canvas. Okay, I had to accept the fact that I can't put her in DCL, so I have to learn this other platform. But then I found a way to make it work. And if you go in first person and you look up in the sky, you'll see the bottom of the platform in from Play Canvas. Like I tried to creatively solve these issues and like really like become a kid, think of something that you find really cool and bring it to life. Just become a kid again. Don't think about money. Don't think about like how can I make a lot of money doing something. Like think about like what is something you would love to see and bring that to life and blow my mind away. I want to stumble on it and be like, holy shit, this is amazing. I mean, we just saw it today with Canessa's Cyberpunk City, and the ABC tour is so magnificent. You know, after years of Canessa saying like, I'm gonna figure this out, I'm gonna figure this out, and she did it. She rocked it. So badass. Just walking through that first hallway with the neon lights, like the numerous neon lights wrapped around the walls. It's such a cool feeling. Such a cool feeling,
Mhm.
and I'm so proud. It's like
You,
I don't want to hear people say I can't wait to learn Blender. Like just go do it. Just go do it.
yep. The you got to take that first step, and I also have to kind of say like I'm so proud of Canessa as well. Even like coming past that neon tunnel, like you come to like the middle of the parcel and look around you, and it just looks like a cyberpunk city
Yeah,
surrounding you.
she killed it. Killed it.
I can't wait
Amazing.
to kind of see Canessa's progression on like just learning SDK and just eventually being able to implement more and more to her build.
Yeah. I mean, like her strategy, like she said a few times, is like trying to learn something new every day. You know, like it's everything is baby steps. You know, like every time you create something, just explore something new. Like don't try to do it all at once. You know, like for Julia's build, I went to the awesome repository and I got those birds, and luckily I know now how to use Blender and stuff. So I changed the bird's color, I made them a little bit smaller, and I got it to work properly. And I wasn't super confident about adding that coding. Like I don't totally understand coding, you know, but I what I did understand, I was able to apply it and it worked. That was one of the new things that I did in this build, you know. And this build, like if I hadn't done Casa Roustan and the spa and the cove, um, I wouldn't be able to create this build. No way. I mean, this like those pillars on the rails are so many triangles.
Really?
This build has an enormous amount of triangles.
I'm like even like admiring like the reflection from the sun to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the
That's all Blender stuff, you know, like little Blender tricks that like you have to kind of figure out, you know, and play around with. And
amazing.
you know, and I learned about there's a billboard code that makes things follow you, and it's actually like a traditional gaming technique. So you'll see like if you like in Doom, for example, you might see a character coming at you, and it looks three dimensional, but it's actually just 2D, and it just like turns as you're moving. And so I was like, I want people to see this video, but if I just put a screen here, they're gonna walk by it and then they can't see it. Like, what if I put the billboard code on it? And it worked, you know? And I was like, yes.
That was like one of the first things I told you to like
Yeah.
whenever I came on. I'm like, bro, this this screen follows you.
Yeah. And it wasn't originally there for my testing. I had four screens on the second floor, and I noticed well, all my daughters and my wife did not look at the screens as they were exploring, and I was like, "Great! Like I want you to see the video, and you're not even looking at the screens." I didn't tell them what to do, you know, and so I was like, I had that pool there, and I was like, I'm gonna put the screen in the pool because there's nothing in this pool, so I'm gonna put the screen there, and I'm gonna add the billboard, and that helps solve that problem, you know. And it's all trial and error, and but like I just really want people to go for it, you know, like just do it, man. Just get off your butt, do something simple, you know, make a t-shirt wearable. That's how I started. That was the first thing I did, was I made a t-shirt, and I finished the shirt, and I was like, why the hell did I make a t-shirt when I can make anything I could possibly imagine? I'm going to make a body painting, you know.
Hmm.
And but that was the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And like just do something. You know, don't talk about it. Let's talk more action. Just go for it.
I love that. Definitely. I keep kind of saying this to myself a lot more. I like you and I need to sit down and hang out more often, have more conversations, because you know, you're 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 one of those individuals that I look up to in this space. Like kind of
Thank you.
you're like big brother Roustan, you know? Like
Thank you.
and I'm sure you've kind of noticed it. Like there's times where I'll like message you and be like, Roustan, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm happy to help. Like I love you, man. I've been bullish on you since I met you, and I love seeing where you've come and where you're going. And I knew that this would happen. Like you'd be here, and after seeing so many other streamers just peter away, and you know,
Ye-
I believe in you, man. I believe in you.
Thank
Get
you.
it?
We all have to, believe in each other in this
Yes. Yes.
environment. It's
Yeah.
we're building we're the foundation. We're the ones that need to build each other up in order to, show the world that we're here in whatever
Yeah.
way it may be. Um, I remember yesterday you had mentioned something about hyperfi,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, which kind of like left me like kind of like thinking because I don't think I've heard of a hyperfi before.
I started hearing about Hyperfy from Morph, who, by the way, congratulations, Morph is one of the winners of the desktop from the Doritos build.
Ooh, they announced
Um,
already?
well, he got his email and he shared in Last Slice that he received his email, and it's awesome.
Let's go.
Um, but he's a beast. He's like a beast of knowledge when it comes to Web3 and stuff. So I highly respect anything he spits out of his mouth. And he brought up Hyperfy, and he's really bullish on things, and he's been working with devs there to connect DCL to it. And so it was on my mind. Heard it mentioned before. Then I think Lastrom talk about it. So it was on my mind again. And then I actually sat down and watched this tutorial by Swissverse on
Ah,
YouTube. And this tutorial, I sat through it, and it shows the building process. Drag and drop. Drag a GLB and position it wherever you want it. It's like you can add video streams super easily. Everything about it is simple drag and drop. Really, really, really easy. And it's definitely the way that DCL should be. And I hope they get to that at some point. I think the biggest challenge is if you receive a GLB or a VLM from like some collectible that you own, it's usually like way over the top in file size and triangles and things like that. Like my Clone X that I received with my clone, it's like insanely high quality. It would never work in Decentraland. So you have to either know how to downgrade that, or DCL needs to up their limitations, right? But that's pretty much, I think, the reason that Decentraland is not that easy. But Morph just had this awesome, like a vlog interview with like 7 other users, each wearing their own unique AR VR avatars, and it's responding to their body movements. And Morph's avatar is a Wonderbot from DCL that he put together, and it's just it's really hopeful, and I really hope that there is a strong connection. They're all about like creating interoperability, and I really hope there becomes a strong link and connection to Decentraland in the
not
future, which is their goal. So
yet. Now I'm remembering. It's the links that you sent me yesterday. Okay, okay.
yeah.
Which right now I just pulled up the one with like the interview with
Oh
Morph. You
yeah, the
see him right
panel.
there. He all like his. I don't know what to do with my arms. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, there's the Clone X who has like straight arms in there. It's pretty funny. But
uh,
it's funny if you watch the beginning of this video and it's quirky like this, but after a while you get used to it, and then you really start to see the potential, and it's like, oh man, we are into something special. And sitting next to Morph in the robe is Toxam, who runs Polygonal Mind.
mm-hmm.
Like there's some pretty important people sitting here. But
Yeah. Okay. Which leads me to my next question. Do you think I need to get Morph to make me a one of those kind of like, what, I forget what they're called, like the avatar that, like, one of
Oh,
his.
yeah, you should definitely do that.
Get
I
one of
really
the
should.
Roustan
With the
shark helmet. I'll be Roustan.
or the mouse head or your mouse head, Like
Yeah,
you'll be
but
able to do
that
that. Like he
that
could show you how to do that easily.
but that would be free advertising for deadmau. I don't want to do that. I want to
Yeah,
advertise for
true.
Roustan. What do you
True.
mean?
True, true, true.
I I can imagine like the shark head, being able to blink and stuff with it.
Oh yeah. This frog here is awesome. I love it. And I was looking at that today, like if you own the collectible, you get the frog, and I almost went and bought the NFT just because I like that frog so much. In
Oh,
this interview, it's hilarious, especially when he starts talking.
oh my god. Oh my god. He's right there. This video deserves a like. This
And see
video.
behind the wall there, there's a Yeti. There's a giant Yeti just like peeking over the wall. It's such a good video. You should post a link in the Twitch chat so
Oh
people can check it out
yes.
on there.
Yes, most
Like
definitely.
follow Morph if you're not following Morph. I think it's Morph DCL on Twitter. That guy knows what he's talking about. As far as like Web3.
And what's exciting was what you mentioned at the beginning, which was kind of they aim to be interoperability or
Yeah,
interoperable with the Decentraland.
yeah. And I think the big positive is like Decentraland is already nicely establishing like a base point for avatars um, structure, that people can build off of. Like if I
Mm-hmm.
was a collectible, you have to build something specific for Sandbox that won't necessarily work in other metaverses and vice versa, right? Like, so you either build 10 avatars for each metaverse, or you start working towards a base avatar setup that can work in many worlds. And so that's kind of the dialogue that they're having, like how to make this work for the future.
That it makes me hopeful that we do have individuals out there that that believe in interoperability and to connect it all, because that's really, I feel personally like that's like the right direction to go along with
For
things.
sure.
There's
I mean, I like look at like we like a lot of us were really excited about what the Woodies did with linked wearables,
Mhm.
and I've been going around to all my collectibles telling them like, make your linked wearables. Stop like coming up with ways to keep your community interested that are just not that interesting. Like they keep like, let's do another fan art giveaway. It's like, oh my god, can you guys just make a linked wearable for Decentraland so your floor can go up a little bit and then people can get active in Decentraland and finally begin to see the potential of Web3?
Mm.
Because like the people that are consumed with floor price and not like what's really important, they're like 2 years behind us. Everybody's so far behind us and they haven't even tasted it yet. you
Yeah,
know
yeah, it almost feels like everyone's waiting for like other side, but other side is gonna be glitchy when it comes out too.
well, so other side's metaverse, that they bought a company that created their own metaverse that was created in like 2011 or something like that. So
Oh,
that's why
that's
that's why a
awesome.
lot of the stuff that they've shared already is like pretty phenomenal. Like like they've been doing it longer than Decentraland, but they're gonna run into issues, and like unless they're really paying attention to what Decentraland's doing, because we're learning the problems in public. You
Hmm.
know, they're not exploring potential problems publicly yet because they have it all gated up. So they're gonna definitely be confronted with problems that they didn't think of unless they're really paying attention to Decentraland, that they're gonna have to resolve that we'll already have worked out. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even just the fact that it's on a blockchain to begin with, that when I met with the team in Miami, and I got to speak with Shibu, JP, got to meet Toonpunk, um, and Agus as well. You know, they were they were kind of like mentioning or hinting towards the fact that like this hasn't been done. Like a metaverse
Yeah.
on a blockchain has never been built before, and like they're the ones paving the way in a way. like in a sense.
Definitely. Yeah, Decentraland is doing it in a very unique way too, for sure. Which to me puts them ahead of the game. Like pretty much everybody else has a motivation of like business as like one of the major motivations. Decentraland is more like we're the explorers coming together, figuring it out because we want to, not because I mean a lot of people in Decentraland, yeah, are trying to make money, but that's not my motivation. You see what I'm doing? Kanessa built that amazing cyberpunk build. That wasn't motivated by money. That was motivated by pure creation, and like wanting to build something cool, which I think the people that do that the hardest are going to win the most. But a huge corporation can step in at any time. And this was apparent to me actually with the first fashion week, the way that these big brands stepped in and put out some really beautiful wearables. They really raised the bar, and I was like, okay, so corporations can come in without experience and do something spectacular and price something really high, and people will pay for it. So we are up against traditional corporations in that regard. But we got an army here that is capable of doing some amazing things.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, like let these corporations come in, bring their people because we're just gonna be here to greet those individuals once they're here, and the corporation's gonna have an event, and you may not see the event for another 3 months or whatever may happen, but the people that we are able to capture like in the process of them having those events are the people that are going to stay on the central land and become curious, want to create. Maybe, you never know, we might even meet some artists along the way.
I think what's really cool, especially after this insane winter we had, crypto winter, is like we continue to see new faces, and like everyone here now at Baby Dolls, they made it through this, and they're still sticking around, even though there are pretty awesome platforms coming up. On Cyper is blowing up really fast. Spatial's doing some cool things, but like we're still here, and we went through the worst part of it, and we're still here, and there's new faces popping up that are sticking around, and it's just like when the good times come again, the bull market hits, just a huge other influx will show up, and the community will become stronger. Like that's I'm very optimistic about it.
Hmm.
And I don't know, there's that this is just something that nobody else has. Nobody.
Totally.
Everybody's behind Decentraland. You're like a year behind, you know?
And, and it kind of even like brings me over like we're ahead of the game, but even like when you're digging through, let's say, DAO, and digging through all the different crazy channels throughout our community, it's like you kind of get a feeling that some people are impatient, but in reality, it's like it's okay to be impatient. The development is coming. The people that are developing the platform are listening to us finally, um, and it's the future will kind of dictate where we go and what kind of pushes we make. Which kind of leads me to kind of ask you if you have like joined any of the like the Wednesday AMAs that the
Yeah.
foundation has, or or perhaps like even the workshop that the DAO Discord had.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I joined last week's trying to resolve the default setting issues for people joining, and they just kind of pushed it to like that needs to be asked on a later date to another specific group, which was kind of frustrating. It's like I
I mean,
don't know who I'm specifically supposed to ask. The questions that I have, and I have some pretty solid questions. Sometimes I don't remember them. That's the other problem. Like when these things pop up, I'm like, wow, what was it that I wanted to ask him? I need to like write it down. But like I'm knee deep in like creating random things that they haven't sort of experienced yet, so I can share my experience with it. There was a while there where like early on, things would happen. I'd run into these problems, and it was almost like they didn't believe me. And they'd give you the traditional clear the cache and do this and do that, and but now since I've kind of like proven myself a little bit, some people hear me a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally. Like, I believe when we spoke yesterday, you like mentioned like the time when Casa Rustan just kept crashing, or no one could
Yeah,
load into Casa Rustan.
yeah, that was a nightmare, man. And it felt like my breath was taken away. I had just like a week before I had that party, and it was a paid party that I had like 280 people on my build, and all I could think was like, God, I'm so glad this didn't happen last week. That would have been so bad. This was just a party for me, and nobody could get in, so it didn't happen. And then you couldn't access Kazakhstan for like 2 or 3 weeks, and it's like you spent all this money on a build, and you can't even access it, and there's no way to contact the person who's causing the problem. And Unknower, who is like one of the greatest devs in Decentraland right now, he like willingly helped me pinpoint the source of the problem, and then we shared that with I forget who it was, one of the major people in the help Discord, and that was one of the times where they were like trying to come up with excuses, and I was like, nope, this is the reason why. How do we resolve this? Let's pass this on. Like we were pretty persistent about it, and I was very like, why don't you guys hire Unknower, because he can take care of this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the biggest issues I have with when we have something, it just takes them so long to resolve it. And it's like I remember when I first built Kazakhstan, before it's what you know it as, when I built it on Builder, I did what my neighbors did that caused the whole scene to crash. And I remember that when I loaded into the world and it wouldn't load and it was crashing, I had this realization, oh my God, this is like my neighbors can't load their builds because of me. And I raced to figure out how to fix that, and I fixed it within like 10 or 15 minutes, but I was horrified thinking that I just totally screwed up my neighbor's builds.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am sitting for 3 weeks and I can't get help from anywhere to fix it except for Unknower, who is kind enough to like spend time with me to sort of pinpoint it.
Yeah, I believe one night I sat with Unknower, and he kind of walked me through the process that he actually took
Yeah.
to find that neighbor, because like he had jumped into a voice call with me one night, like we were just chilling at the CBD Discord, and like I'm like, oh crap, I haven't seen you in like weeks, let me actually report something to you. And I told him how like at on the grimy build on the Studio Sparkle build,
Yeah. Yeah.
currently like chat will not work for like I guess certain people, because like for me it didn't work. For a few others I noticed that it wasn't working. And so then a knower kind of was like saying, okay, like turn down your scene load radius and let's go track down the scene.
Yeah, man. Unknower he's a beast. He's a badass. He just like he gets joy out of like solving problems, and like improving things, and like he's a huge asset. And so if you guys ever see him, thank him for all the stuff that he does, and hire him for your needs if you can, because like I'm as bullish on Unknower as I am on Sin.
Most
The
definitely.
good people, like I'm crazy about the good people.
I had I had a chance to meet Unknower in Miami,
Oh, that's cool.
and it was awesome. Like like for me, I felt like it was one of those things that it's like, okay, well, I'm at this party. Hey, look, a knower's over there. That's my guy. you know, like we just like gravitated to each other, and we didn't know why.
He's cool. Before he moved to Florida, he was working on his own build in Etheria, and he was performing on it, and he had this really phenomenal setup, and he kind of stopped doing it because he got so busy moving, and he's building like this real life office space that's pretty exceptional. But he's somebody like I'm telling you guys, don't forget his name. Pay attention to Anwar. He's like a big deal, and he's super gracious. So you'll never hear him say that. So I'm saying it for him.
And I hope he's on Parcel and just heard you say that. I hope he's probably blushing if he did. uh, so, let's see. We've been going for about almost 2 hours, Rustan. How are you
Yeah,
feeling? How are you
yeah.
feeling? It's been a
Let's
marathon.
wrap this shit up. Nobody wants to hear this anymore, right? I can go
I
on
don't
as long
think
as you
so.
need me to, but I think that's probably pretty good. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a million things that I wanted to say that I forgot to say. But
Well, I mean, that could all be left to a future episode because you're like I mentioned, your big brother Rustan. Like, you're always welcomed, and I always love talking to you. So we should
thank you, brother.
definitely do something in the future, another
Of
show,
course,
another
anytime,
whatever it may be.
anything you need, I'm always there for you.
Thank you, Rustan, and likewise. Um, any final thoughts, messages that you would like to give to our beautiful community?
Um, maintain that inner child, man. Bring out that kid. Share your inner child. I want to see it. We all want to see it in what you create. Like I think that's the ticket right there. Have fun, man, and put it out there.
Yep, that's what it's all about right there. Having fun.
And I have more stuff coming. I'm just gonna recover from this recent build because this was really taxing. But I have a lot planned in the future, and can't wait to bring it to life.
I I mean, I know that I can speak for a lot of our community members that they can't wait to see it because everything Rustan drops is just done to perfection. Everything
Thank you.
from video to your photography to like everything, just everything.
It's
I can't just
it's
find
far
something.
it's far from perfection, but it has a lot of character.
Okay, fine. I guess perfection is in the eyes of the beholder, bewielder. What's the saying?
Beholder, yeah.
Beholder, yeah. Is bewilder even a word? Oh my lord, I just embarrassed myself. Well,
Thank you for having me and having like showcasing Julia's gift.
I feel honored to be able to, have you come on and show us and tell us about Julia's gift. Like, it's not easy, but I'm happy you did.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Rustan. And yeah, just a couple final notes. Everyone, you heard Rustan. Get on your DCO worlds, get creating, find the inner child. Also, always remember. Let's take a moment, even after the episode. Maybe if you haven't done so already, visit the Julius Gift play canvas scene and yeah, experience it for yourself. It's one of the more beautiful scenes I have seen in my Web3 journey so far. So I'm really happy that I got the chance to explore it with Rustan. Want to thank my sponsors, everyone. Songbird Collective, Dr. Drip, Vox Boards, Meta One Designs, and of course the Baby Dolls. Thank you, Baby Dolls, for hosting us here at the DollHouse. You were great hosts. I really appreciate all the time that the group puts in to making the platform better and making this a welcoming place. Love you all, everyone. Have a great evening. And stand by. We'll get you some music going.
This is the story of Julia, a vibrant and loving soul whose life was sadly cut short, but whose legacy will live on. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend. Before she passed away, I had the opportunity to collaborate with her in a way that will allow her memory to live on forever. My name is Paul Roustan. I'm a body painter. I paint on people and then I photograph them. In October of 2018, I had the opportunity to paint Julia Nicoletti for the first time. Julia was an amazing fashion model and an artist herself. That first time I painted her was for a gig for Snapchat, and she was pretty great and we worked really well together. We had a certain chemistry, and I was definitely looking forward to working with her many more times. We'd have some pretty deep philosophical conversations where we'd be laughing. She has a great sense of humor, but it was pretty clear she was very smart, very funny, and very beautiful. In late November of 2018, I was emailed a query asking if I wanted to take part in this volumetric capture of a body painting. What this is like you place someone inside of the sphere of GoPros and you capture from every single angle this person's movements, and it's patched together and you're able to play it back in augmented reality and virtual reality. And I decided to reach out to Julia to see if she wanted to be a part of this. So we met at Digital Nation Entertainment in Santa Monica, California, and I started painting her at their studio. It was a really cool experience seeing her get captured by this 3D volumetric capture setup. It was like stepping into the future. It had just finished raining in Santa Monica, which is a rare occurrence in California, and I decided to shoot her in the alleyway behind the studio. There were nice puddles of water, and I could see her reflection in them. And considering I was painting the caustics of water on her, it just made a little bit of sense. In January 2019, I painted Julia at the International Makeup Artist Trade Show. It's a huge trade show. She definitely had a presence, and it was cool to see. Once she was painted up at IMATS, everybody wanted to take a picture with her. Everyone wanted to be around her. Everyone was staring at her. She looked pretty amazing. Little did I know this would be the last time I would see her. We did speak on several occasions after that, but we could never get our schedules aligned to collaborate again. Last time I spoke to Julia, she was extremely excited that we were going to see each other because she was going to come to my art show. And unfortunately that night I didn't see her. I found out later that she had passed away. On November 2nd, 2019, Julia passed away from an apparent fentanyl overdose. This has become a major epidemic in the United States. Unfortunately, most people that die from this did not even know that they consumed fentanyl, one of the deadliest drugs in history. In October 2020, I decided to paint a portrait of Julia on the back of one of my regular models, Sawyer. It was just my way of remembering her.
Here, guys,
And
I'm
4 months
gonna
after
raid
that
on
was
over
released,
to Wekasui,
I received a random DM from
and
Julia's mom,
we'll see
Claudine.
what
She
we can do
apparently
at
had
DollHouse.
stumbled
Maybe
on the
I'll
video
even...
and really appreciated the video.
Yep. Let's see.
So I had this wonderful conversation with Claudine, sharing memories about Julia.
Okay,
And
I
in
guess
the back of my
Tampoco will
head,
be
I
taking
knew
over the DollHouse
that this
stream.
VR footage
Anyone on
existed, but I
Twitch,
didn't have
please,
any way of getting
let's
it.
hype up Wekasui.
I wasn't sure if I should even
very
mention
sweet
it
girl
if there
and
was
very
no way that
talented
I could let
musician.
Claudine see it.
Bye.
But then one day I decided, what the hell, let me message Digital Nation and tell them the story of what happened to Julia and see what happens. Long story short, they let me use the footage, and I'm now able